welcome to the Moms on Maternity YouTube show and podcast. I'm Aimee Cruz, and today we have on Sheri St. Marie. Sheri's kids are all growing up in college, and she is a go-getter, businesswoman. So right up our alley of the type of women we love to talk to. How are you today, Sheri?
I'm awesome. Every day I just get up and I am all about being in the moment. How can I make a difference and have a little fun? So
what do you do for a living?
That's what most people. I am technically an entrepreneur, so I'm a 1099, and so I do all kinds of things. But when people force me down to functional things, I used to be a high school marketing teacher, so I did that for a long time when my kids were little. I got laid off in teaching and then became a real estate broker. So I'm a real estate broker in the state of Wisconsin and in Florida, and can refer all over the world and work with internationals as well. And then I do lots of different investment type of things with other people. So I'm working with investors on different projects. I have created courses. I'm a speaker. So I do all kinds of different
things. So you are a woman of all trades. You can really figure out how to do anything.
You know what it is? I was born in the projects, come from nothing. And more of it was just about necessity in the beginning. And now it's more about, I like variety. And I'm much more about like people, opportunities, and experiences than I am about like driving a paycheck. And so I am much more about just contributing, and then neat things start to happen, more than, and if I don't know how, I'm really good at self-deprecating humor.
That's amazing. I subscribe to that same theory. When you talk about international real estate really quick, that made my ears light up. How does that work? Can a United States real estate agent sell international property?
So how that is working is a couple different capacities. I'm with a company called EXP. So we're global. So I have 80,000 teammates all over the world. And so I can refer to one of my teammates in Italy or Australia or wherever I would like to. But here in Naples, Florida, I work with a lot of international clients. So I have a home up in Madison, Wisconsin, Middleton, Wisconsin. And then I also am down in Naples. And in Naples, there's a very large group of internationals here. So I am working with them and a lot of other clients on purchasing either their own property, investment property, Airbnb, because I'm an Airbnb super host. And so all of those things just create variety into real estate. And new construction has always been my specialty. So I have 19 years as a woman in construction.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what is your biggest memory of raising your kids? Like when you look back on it all, what's like the 2 times that like stand out in your mind as like critical moments?
Oh my gosh. That's the stuff that just like my heart goes right. My eyes tear up.
Right.
Because for me, like over anything I've ever done in my entire lifetime, it's being a mom. Like that was my greatest gift and what I wanted to do. And so I think, some of them would certainly be times when it was, my 3 kids are close in age. So I had 4 kids under 5, 3 kids under 4 for a short bit of time. So mine were 18 months apart and then 2.5 years apart. And so I had like double stroller and the carrier. So a lot of mine were just the times when the 3 of us were able to share time together and teaching them the stuff that matters in life, but so much more about the priceless stuff. So mine would have been the pieces where you're the world to your child, and a lot of mine was just making sure they knew I love you no matter what, so whether you mess up or you don't, you can call me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm there, first thing in the morning, whatever. My children are now 25, 20, almost 24 and 21.
Yeah.
They will call me no matter what. So it's not exactly a memory, but that's what we built over these decades, where it's like have each other's back and just the priceless times. I knew my kids were going to choose, do you want to be with me after you're 18? They have to be younger, right? But at 18, they don't necessarily have to unless you're controlling them with money. And so for me, it was so much more about how do I create this relationship with you and also teach you as best I can. How do we live and work through some of this stuff? How do we be big-hearted? How do we have the hard conversations, And I'm at the stage now in the second part of memory where I'm also reaping those treasures of my kids enjoy the time with us. They're young adults and they come down with their boyfriends and girlfriends for Christmas and all that kind of stuff because they want to, and because they enjoy the time. And, it was the everyday when you're tired and juggling work and all those kind of things where they will say, the days are long, the years are short. And I never used to understand that. The days are long, meaning it's you love your kids, it's so exciting, but you're exhausted, right? While they're little and you're covering everything and working and getting them to school. And then all of a sudden it's over, in the everyday life. And so that was hard.
I can't believe my oldest is almost 8. It's like, what? That's crazy. Like, yeah.
And I think, each stage is fun for the pieces. I loved that little stage in that where, you get to have them more and all that kind of stuff, but it is the hardest job you'll ever do. And it's also the most amazing job you'll ever do, So
I follow you on LinkedIn and you're very active there. It's awesome. I feel like on that platform, you push for a little bit of a culture shift or change. Am I reading that right?
Yeah. So, this is what's a little bit interesting. Prior to COVID, I used to do videos every single day, like regular videos where I'm talking and coaching and talking as a coach. Then the world got a lot hard, right? Of just social unrest and COVID and all of these pieces that were just heartbreaking. And I'm a huge empath. I got into a spot where there was a lot of people that I've always used my voice, whether it's easy or hard. So I'm an advocate for a lot of tough subjects. But it got to be a place where it felt a little bit unsafe with all the political huge pieces and Black Lives Matter and all kinds of things. And honestly, I have had, stalking at times by people. And so I chose to swing and be a little bit more quiet and not the usual post. I went into this whole creative thing for a year of TikToks and things like that are lighthearted, not so serious, because people also needed some of that lighthearted. But a lot of everything I do, no matter what I'm posting or doing, it's really about how do you kind of give just street smart thought for adults to learn. And it doesn't have to be so serious, just to help them think about things in their own life, because I'm not going to boss or tell anybody what to do really,
A street smart what?
I've always been a street smart teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a master's degree in adult education. Before then I was a high school marketing teacher. I, however, though, was born in the projects. School wasn't as easy for me. I was really great at the social and started speaking in front of hundreds of people when I was 12. And by 17, I was traveling the state speaking to business people for DECA as a state president. And so my talents were different, and where I've developed a skill both back in high school and today, even working with billionaires and whoever it happens to be, or regular people like myself. I just teach in a little different style that's street smart, instead of super academic and the way other people.
So give an example.
An example would be, a great example would honestly be a TikTok, because I can teach or explain something by being 7 seconds and either funny or serious or lighthearted. And the person walks away in their own life, either being inspired or thinking about something. Or I will do a LinkedIn Live and I will have a husband call me that will say, I didn't realize till you did that LinkedIn Live how I was really treating my wife. And yet you didn't really say anything about, you didn't, shame or direct or be difficult.
Mm-hmm. What did you used to speak corporately on?
I do all different subjects. So an example would be right now, my next thing will be the Women's Leadership Symposium at UW-Madison. So the college in Madison, I'm giving a 1-hour talk on to women that are either college students right now, staff, or any women in the public.
About what?
So I'm going to talk about this whole journey of what we've learned really being a female in this whole industry. Like a lot of the pieces that we'll look at is we unfortunately are conditioned as women to think there's only supposed to be one kind that we are or whatever. We've even harmed each other by me feeling like I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but to somebody else that might not have been acceptable. It doesn't matter. It's my journey, right? And I should be thrilled for you because you want to be high achieving and whatever it is you care to be.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is recently we've gone through this whole thing of the toxic power, taking our power back. And a little bit of that needed to happen, with Me Too, Time's Up and all that kind of stuff. And then it wasn't helpful because it became this male versus female, or, the boss versus an employee or whatever. We needed to learn, how do we get some of this power dynamic shifted out that needs to happen without being toxic and without being so hard on each other. So a great example is I have a big following of males and females, but a lot more males. And people would go, well, why is that, Sheri? I've learned in my experience how to not be the one lecturing and calling you out and being hard. I'll do that every once in a while. But for the most part, people find me a female that's inviting and easier to listen to and not telling you what to do, just presenting some different thoughts. And that has gone well for me personally with my own style or the things that I want to do in my life. And a lot of it is just looking at those pieces, one of them would be OnlyFans right now. So there's a lot of not just young women. So OnlyFans, if your audiences don't know that, or a lot do, that is a concept that is on TikTok and others where it's a premium piece. And yet what the women are doing is accepting gifts, which is cash, for showing more of their body and whatever. And some people are getting, private room, or you're a premium guest. Ultimately, that's still prostitution. And then those.
Are you saying that's fine, or what are you saying exactly?
I don't necessarily say it's great or bad, right? Because I'm not supposed to be judgy. What I'm saying is that OnlyFans, if these women are doing that, they also just need to think about, they are liking to say that's female empowerment and I'm an entrepreneur. There's just a cost to that. There's a cost to that. And it's not just young women doing it. It's also women in their 40s and 50s.
What is the cost?
I think that the cost would be, to some of those people, you are putting yourself in a position where your sexuality is your currency. And if that feels fine to you, which a lot of them will say, I feel totally fine with this, I am comfortable, all of that stuff.
Strip clubs have been around since the beginning of time.
Right. And so all I'm saying is, it is not this empowered, I'm an entrepreneur thing. It is still in the industry of a strip club. That's what it is. That's it. And then we have a lot of these women getting cash for that, right? And then I try to go buy a house, but it's cash. Where'd you get it? You're not reporting it to the IRS, which now that's becoming a big, huge thing of just realizing what they're doing. And the other thing is, we're all going to eventually age out of the I'm a hot bombshell. And so, it's just, how do you feel about that?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, it's an interesting topic. I totally like where you're going, where your head's at with it, and your thought process is there. But that's true about any job. Even in corporate America, you're in your 20s and 30s only for 20 years. And so, I think that there's a fear of a lot of women. You don't want to get old in corporate America either. You don't want to get old anywhere,
But I think the place to think and learn is, of course, we don't, because that's the way we've been socialized. So at 45, I was like, oh gosh, I better be about something else besides my looks, because that's not what I want people to necessarily think of me as. And so how am I highlighting and using my other assets so that I'm not aging myself out necessarily? I can keep moving and evolving, and we are very much socialized, especially in the United States, over physicality. And part of that is not our fault, because it's the way we've been socialized. And then part of that is we also buy into that system, and so how do you want to handle that? And so mine was, I started helping people see my intelligence a little bit better, at least by 45, as a conscious choice.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree with all that. Do you talk about your age publicly?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am one who every single day I'll say I'm 54. I mean, it's not any big issue with me at all.
So you're 54.
I'm 54.
Are you married?
I am no longer married. I was married for a really long time. I unfortunately was in a very abusive marriage. That was incredibly difficult and difficult to get out. And I have been out actually 6 years now. So you look great. I mean, I don't
I don't think you look 54. I mean, I'm not just saying that. I'm sure do you get work done?
I don't.
Okay. So what have you done? Do you think that's allowed you to, I mean, I don't, again, no, but you look young for your age, right?
Most people would think I look young for my age. I've been told that most of my life.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of that just happens to be genetics,
Hmm.
and that I just have chosen to, as best I can, live a pretty clean life, meaning that I certainly eat junk food, I eat fast food, whatever, but for a lot of it, I just really choose to live the best lifestyle I can in terms of, not, and I don't get on a scale. So I am just moving every day. I'm eating as best I can, for choices, and I don't drink a lot of alcohol. And I'm not really great at drinking water. So more of it is just, I'm not doing drugs, but
Coffee?
I do drink coffee. I also have a Pepsi Max. So I'm not like one of these, oh gosh, I can't have, mine is just more so, I've really chosen to prioritize my health, so for me, it is just learning everything that I can on YouTube and other places about what's best for my mental well-being, for my physical well-being. And a lot of mine isn't any kind of workout routine at all. It's just, I walk instead of getting in the car a lot or things like that. It's not anything, everybody wants some big, like, oh, I got some big secret or what. I color my hair. I color my hair, and I never did my nails or anything until I'm down in Naples. I finally bent the thing, and all right, that's all I do.
Cool. So you've been divorced for 6 years.
Yep.
I'm divorced.
Okay.
So do you find being single changes your ability and or just the way you interact with people professionally?
I think that I have always had to be really careful with it. So I have always had to be much more, like when you see me on social media, I'm much more, that's my like full regular personality. When I am doing work with somebody in a contract or those sort of things, I'm careful to dress more professionally, be much more appropriate with males, not joking around if I'm in a work capacity, right? If there is a female involved, whether that's a wife or a girlfriend, I'm always really careful to make sure that I make her comfortable and her comfortable first, so I definitely think it is something that I've had to behave differently in the last 6 years by far.
Because you don't have the ring on?
I'm sorry, what?
Because you're not wearing a wedding ring? That's the reason.
Yeah. And a lot of it was to me feeling like I could have done what a lot of women do in No Judgment in putting on the fake ring, because I've been told to do that all the time. I mean, it's I get a lot on LinkedIn, right?
That's so interesting. I've never considered that, but it is interesting now when I look at photos of me without it. It's interesting, right?
But I refuse to do it. So this is funny. This is a great conversation, right? So I have a friend I met years ago, and she's like, this is so ridiculous. I think it affects me in business. So I wear a fake ring even when I go in to do business.
Wow.
Because the only reason I'm not judging her, and great if she wants to. And she said, my paycheck's better. I'm better respected. People don't really need to know what my situation is. So I just do it, right? And a lot of women have gone to it. It's the anti-harassment sometimes toy. It's funny, the guys will go, in the bar, out of the bar. There's this opposite of ours. We'll go in work, out of work.
This is so funny. I love the conversation. Interesting, Sheri.
Yeah, but I refuse to do it for my own self, not judgment of anybody else, because it's not honest. I'm not married. And we are also in this thing where so much of our identity is, are you dating somebody? Are you single? Are you, and that's a social dynamic of our life. I'm super open with my life. I share, a lot. But I think it also puts us in this category of just because of the way society tries to meet and date and those kind of things, where if I do it, I'm not being honest about it.
Do you date?
So this may be, I'm going to hit me on hard category. All right. So a lot of people know this because, some of it I've done right on LinkedIn. So because of my very difficult divorce that was abusive and hard, I actually did not for, almost 2.5 years, and, did all kinds of great counseling and all that stuff. I dated one person who actually I didn't realize was a neighbor of me in Wisconsin. We're still great friends and all that kind of stuff. But it took me a long time to finally do that over my traumatized background. Then I went for a long time, and I actually am just dating the second person right now in 6 years.
So how did you meet them?
It's interesting because the person that is from Wisconsin, I actually met him on LinkedIn, which normally I get hit on every day on that thing. All right.
This is such a great interview right now.
I am so big about, okay, let me explain myself as I feel. Okay. So it's tough on that platform every day. I get, And so it isn't where I would have loved to meet somebody, but let me explain.
Well, let's just pause really quick. That's how you and I connected, through a friend on LinkedIn. We would not even be talking right now if we were not there.
You are so much more fabulous and comfortable with this. And that's great. Now you can see I'm super strong. I'm really confident, I'm all that stuff, but I'm like nerdy in the dating category because it's just not as comfortable. So you're right. Like people tell me that all the time of like, gosh, you should be willing to just meet somebody. My difficulty is I get all these guys who pretend they would like to do business. They really don't. And I'm wasting all my time and I'm not interested in dating, but thank you so much. Let me explain though, also on this LinkedIn thing, it's like, it was incredibly appropriate. It was just really somebody who actually lives right in my hometown, sent me a message and just said, inspired by your videos, love to have coffee sometime. Right. And then we clarified before we set up the coffee thing of just, is this personal or is this business? I always do that, And he said, well, actually, if you're open to it, I'd rather be personal. The only reason I said, okay, is that shockingly, he lives 2 miles from me in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I'm like, all right, fine. Long story short, here's the great part. He and I have been, friends and, dated for a good amount of time or whatever for, on and off for 3 years now. And so it was a great situation. We each just had something compatibility wise in our lifestyles that, wasn't the thing. We're still best friends. And so that part's nice. The other person, I met him luckily sitting outside a bakery in Naples.
Are you talking about Italy or Florida?
Naples, Florida.
Florida. Okay.
Yeah. So he just came walking up when I was sitting outside because the bakery closed early. And I was so happy because it was like the old fashioned way, right? Of just hands up and just, hi, what you doing? I'm like, okay. So we started talking.
And I think that's so cool. There's you can still meet people the old fashioned way. And now there's the technology way to meet people. Dating apps. Have you tried those?
Yes. So that was not my favorite. So I wish
the Bumbles and the Tinders, or what did you do?
So I wished I was one of those women who loved that, right? I wished I was the kind like, okay, I meet somebody and I'm with them 24 years. Like that's my personality.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm awful with this. And so
I was with my ex since I was 22. So I was with him my whole life. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So at 5 years, one of my neighbors down here in Florida said, how in the world do you think you're actually going to meet somebody? And I'm like, I'm just hoping somebody great would introduce me to somebody great. Right. And she's like, that's never going to happen. And you're not the kind of woman who'd sit in a bar. So you're going to have to just learn how to do this dating app thing. And I was like, oh my God, I swore I would never do that. Not judging on anybody else, but because when you have trauma background, it's scarier about like, who can I trust and who am I meeting? And that's all.
It's true. Yeah.
However, I did try Bumble because somebody encouraged me on just the concept of, the women are a little bit more in control. I found that the caliber of men were much better on that than other things my friends have tried and all this kind of stuff. And I think so much of it, once you get into life where you actually have different places you live and children and all that kind of stuff, it's not even so much about, gosh, I found somebody that's really amazing. It then becomes a little bit more about the compatibility piece of timing. Does our life work right now? All that kind of stuff, Yeah,
that's really well said. Sheri, where can people find more about you?
The easiest place to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm also over on TikTok under official Sheri St. Marie, and also Sheri St. Marie Real Estate.
So Sheri St. Marie on LinkedIn, if you'd like to continue to follow Sheri. Thanks for this awesome conversation. I think you're a very strong female. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to contribute.
Thanks for watching. For more, please visit www.monsomaternity.com.